1, 2, 3, 4.
Filled with awe and fright, see Jurassic Right. Bathed in amber light, see Jurassic Right. See Jurassic Right, right. See Jurassic Right, right. See Jurassic Right, right. See Jurassic Right. See Jurassic Right. See Jurassic Park.
You hear stories about that where somebody's like, this thing happened that day, and then they still went to work or whatever. But
I mean, that's like, speaking of Dominion, and we'll get into this, I'm sure, but something that we did not talk a lot about because it's just not fun to talk about, especially not in 2022 when this film released, was like, we shot during a global pandemic.
yeah, we'll get into it.
It's like, cannot be understated that I would live with Jeff Goldblum. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Dominion was the first film back.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Well, this is Stephen Ray Morris. You're listening to See Jurassic Right. We're going to waste no time, and we're on video too, which is very thrilling. It's the iconic Kayla Watts, DeWanda Wise.
Yay!
Oh my God. This is so exciting. I'm so thrilled to chat with you today. This is so fun.
Too.
My friend Amanda, who was on that
Yes.
episode, she says hello.
Hi, Amanda.
She's also embarrassed that you saw that clip. Yeah, no, I'm so thrilled. You're amazing in Dominion, fan favorite. Everyone loves you. But I just wanted to go all the way back to the beginning and just how did you start acting? What made you want to act? I want to hear all about it.
Oh my goodness. What made me want to act? I remember when they used to make those 90s movies like Dangerous Minds.
Yeah.
There were all those warning movies. So I started acting, and he's actually working on a play in LA. Fun fact. But my drama teacher, essentially, this sounds so ridiculous, but basically he saw my potential, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I was always late for class because I was just I'd rather talk in the hallways.
Sure, yeah.
And so he was just like, DeWanda, your detention is auditioning for The Music Man.
Wow.
That was it. That was literally, it was kind of immediate. It was love at first sight. I was like, oh, this is somewhere to put all of my very big emotions.
Yeah.
And all that nervous energy. Also, I never have to quit. I was a very accomplished quitter in high school.
Oh,
okay.
What else did you quit?
I have played piano. I have been a violinist. I have been a percussionist. I was a cheerleader. I just quit everything. I quit the flags, the little flags in high school. I did that for one day. And I was like, oh no, my wrists do not like this.
Oof. Well, I think a lot of people don't even try. So it's, you're figuring it out.
I was figuring it out. And then I found the thing where, I could basically I could learn a lot because I am a voracious learner.
Mm-hmm.
But I wouldn't have to quit because the job ends.
That's why I work all the time. So I get it.
Yeah.
Do you have any early film or early acting memories that you stand out to you?
So at the opening of this play the other day, I saw this actor named Paul James, and Paul James and I were in my very first anything. I starred in this indie film with Sarah Jessica Parker and Michael T. Williamson that no one ever saw. We shot it when I was still in college, and it came out years after, but it was based on a play, and we just it was adjacent to the experience I had on Jurassic just because we were shooting on an island in New York.
Oh, wow.
Is it Randall Island?
I don't know.
It's whichever one, any New Yorkers, it's the one that has
They're
the
screaming at their
dorms,
phones right now.
But that's where we filmed, and we were just kind of all there together for a couple of months. And yeah, it was it kind of brought me this rush back because that was my earliest experience of being a bit more non-transactional in my approach.
Mm-hmm.
Meaning I knew very early on that I just had to love the thing because whatever happened with the thing was so far outside of my control.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it really forced me super early to be very process-oriented.
Oh, for sure. I think because there's so many days where you're just why am I doing this?
Yes.
And so, yeah, you really have to
Have to.
love the...
Or you just trudge through it, and there are plenty of actors who do that. You know what I mean?
Oh, I don't know.
Tough.
I feel that's the thing people say. It's writers or they'll be I hate writing, but, it makes it all worth it. And I'm okay, I think, yeah, like trying
Yeah.
stuff. I mean, even podcasting was something for me where I was like, oh, this is the thing I like the most.
Yes, this is the thing I like the most.
Do you remember seeing Jurassic Park, the original, in theaters growing up? Or
I did not see it in theaters growing up. I didn't watch it until I booked this job.
Oh,
So embarrassing.
I mean, look, you're doing your research, you're doing your due diligence,
It's so funny because it is really good. Like everything about it stands up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's still, sometimes you'll see like an 80s movie and you'll just be like, oh, this is so fun. Like, look at these effects. You know what I mean? Like you look at the original Tron and you're just like, pew, 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 pew. But Jurassic is legitimately terrifying and beautifully acted and wondrously shot. And my goodness.
Yeah. No, I think it's been a nice thing that basing this podcast and like basically off that is like, I bet on a good horse in that way,
Yes. Truly.
But I was reading there's the Jurassic World Visual Dictionary, and Colin Trevorrow, the director, said he wrote this part of Kayla for you.
Oh, wow. That's very kind.
Yeah, I guess, yeah. Do you want to talk about getting the part in Dominion and all that process?
Yeah, I think I could imagine that. So Colin and I met, it had to be, my goodness. Okay, if we shot this in 2020, I guess we met it was either I think it was 2019 in March. And it was really simple. Like I didn't audition. He was just like, hey.
I love it.
Come be in my movie, please.
That's exciting.
Wild. It was really wild. It was really wild. And, had to like cross his T's and dot his I's and get everyone's approval, including one Spielberg, which is wild. But we were just in kind of conversations super early on. And I'm a theater nerd. I come from the theater, so I'm so accustomed to co-creating.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think it's wild when actors are like, think of this as just like a job that they go and do.
Sure, yeah.
Because it's such a co-construction. And we spent, I got the script, and then ahead of shooting, Colin and I just spent like a month legit just going back and forth and workshopping her and, refining it and just making her as specific as possible.
That's really cool because, just these huge blockbusters and you just hear all the stories.
Hit your mark.
Yeah.
I know.
Or even just the idea that you don't really even know what scene you're filming, who you're filming it with.
I
know. We were talking before about, there's something about Zoom where it's convenient and it can have these situations with podcasting or interviews or something, but then in person and getting to like actually work with the director. And
I think it just makes a difference.
Yeah.
Like even if everything doesn't land, which obviously I'm not, I don't live under a rock. I know that there are many things that didn't work in Dominion. But I'm really proud of what we were able to construct with Kayla and kind of, I feel like the audience response is in response to the work we put in because what they're responding to is feeling like you saw a real person on screen, and that's always thrilling, especially in a blockbuster.
Yeah, no, of course. And that's the thing that I think, like you're saying, that so many people responded to because this was also such an unconventional Jurassic Park movie where all the previous movies have one or two returning characters, if that.
Right.
This movie has basically everyone coming back, and then it's like you are brand new, and everyone's like, "Wait, who's that?"
I know,
like,
it's so wild.
Did you feel that? Like
everyone felt it.
Oh.
Everyone not only felt it, but it was also everyone was really kind of excited, and I was really buoyed by it. Like Chris Pratt was so supportive and just so thorough and. I feel like so much of his brand is, sorry, I'm outing you, Chris Pratt, but so much of his brand is like, like, oh, aw shucks and da-da-da-da. But he's kind of low-key brilliant. Like he knows a lot about being an action hero.
Sure,
and like making it all land. And keeping up with him, or at least having him pretend that I'm keeping up with him in that movie so that I look good. Slowing down a little bit because you see his horse legs. The man has horse legs, okay? There's no world in which I'm running as fast as Chris Pratt.
Oh my! Well, now I'm going to rewatch the movie and just look at his thighs,
They're the size of my waist. So, between him and Bryce Dallas Howard, who also just, came to the opening of the play too.
Oh, amazing.
Just
oh my God.
That was my second time working with Sam Neill, which is ridiculous. We got to go for number 3,
Yeah, of course.
you know?
Yeah, they're making he got cast in a new Godzilla movie.
I know. I was like, oh, what are you playing? Should I play Godzilla?
Yeah. I mean, wouldn't it be fun to stomp on, like, you know, and I feel like now they're going, you know, practical effects and everything. They're going to
make it a comeback.
Yeah. They need somebody to be in the suit.
I think so too.
Oh my gosh. Well, we were saying right as we were getting started, I almost just like took for granted even asking you that this was like the first movie filmed like post kind of lockdown and everything. And do you remember that time and when it was like, okay, we're not filming, okay, we're back? Like,
I remember everything. I remember everything. I feel like I'd be surprised to meet someone who didn't really have strong memories of like between March 2020 and the end of that year.
Yeah.
I was already in London in March. You know, I had my flat. My team worked so hard to get me my own place. So funny because it was like I had it for a week, you know. I was in Kensington living my UK life.
Oh my God.
For 1 week before we were all.
You're like, can I just stay here? Like,
yeah, I was like, should I bring my husband? I don't know. So yeah, I was there for a week and then it shut down. And then I spent the next, what is that? March, April, May, June.
Yeah.
Yeah. The next 3 months, just like blind faith, lifting weights and eating protein. Just blind faith.
You were holding.
Just like, hey, you know what? I've already come this far.
Yeah.
I've already been training. I want her arms to look like how I want them to look.
Yeah, of course. I mean, yeah, that's what's always so amazing doing the action movies is it just feels like it's such a dedication. It's not for as much work as you're seeing on screen. I feel like you guys put so much more effort in, like.
Yeah, if you care, you know, and if you don't want to be out of breath pretending to run from dinosaurs. But yeah, so I was just kind of like, truly, it was like lifting in the dark. And then, you know, we heard probably early June that we were coming back. And it was I want to say, I think it was 2 weeks we had to be in quarantine. So they put us in a separate place before we could move into the hotel we were all staying at. Everybody.
Legendary.
I'm like, I don't think it will ever happen again.
Yeah.
Like, there were so many movies, or at least a couple of us who were filming that way at that time. We were definitely the first ones back. I mean, it's such a social experiment.
Yeah.
Enough for them to make a movie about it that I still haven't seen.
I know. I haven't. The Judd Apatow movie or whatever. I know. I should cover that on this podcast. It could be fun.
So wild.
But, I mean, I feel like maybe if I'm trying to remember some of the interviews, like around that time of the kind of, maybe it feeling more like a theater experience, because it wasn't just from watching behind the scenes and stuff, it's always just dozens, if not like, you know, double dozen. I don't know, whatever, not quite 100, probably 100, right?
It felt like theater, and it also, it felt like indie because we only so many people could be around.
Yeah.
You know, only so many people were in zone A, you know, and I think the surreal part and the thing that I never took for granted, you know, I probably had like Kayla's testosterone at the time. Like I was very bravado about it. And it really didn't hit me. Like anxiety didn't hit me, I don't think, until I was actually like, you know, on set and we were starting to, you know, continue to work and move through and film every day, because it was just like, it was overwhelming.
Yeah.
No one actually knew what it was.
Yeah.
You know, I'm working with legends who are all, you know, of a certain age.
Yeah.
So the part of me, I call her RA because, you know, we were all living together and I was definitely an RA in college. So like that leadership part of me was just on absolute high alert. And so DeWanda was feeling like this. And I mean, I'm talking like breaking out in hives, like my body is betraying me, you know. And meanwhile, I'm playing this character who is relatively laissez-faire, very funny and very fun. Yeah. And so, you know, I don't know if I can curse on this, but it was just kind of it was a mindfuck.
Yeah, no, totally.
Absolutely.
Well, that didn't even really occur to me, the notion that you are playing this character, you're on this set, but then also you're in real time, everyone is getting news of what's going on in the world.
Trying to process, yep.
You're like, all right, time to go play pretend.
It was election year.
Yeah.
It was just a lot. It was like Black Lives Matter summer.
Yeah.
It was a lot. I mean, and truly, like, the saving grace was that we didn't have a bad apple among us.
Yeah.
I mean, whew. Can you imagine?
And so, no, well, I was going to say, because I mean, yeah, you're all living together. You have to get along. And
With our families.
Oh, really? Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Ugh.
Oh, yeah. Many of us, you know?
Was that like a thing at the end of the day? Everyone would everyone, I mean, I imagine like some people, of course, need like a minute or, want to just go back and take a nap. And
it was me. I'm the one who needed, I literally had to have Sam Neill for space. And he gave it to me. Bless him. Bless him. Just a week.
Yeah.
Just a week of space.
You're like, look, I'll learn the ukulele later. We'll play together.
Jeff brought his piano.
Wow.
It was great. It really was a good time, for all things considered. But yeah, it was 5 months.
Wow.
Yeah.
Was there anything you brought that you like were, okay, I'm
my culinary skills.
Oh, did you make?
Me and Alano made so many meals.
Just like the team dinner, everyone come over kind of thing?
Yes. Yes. My culinary skills. That was my mass contribution, was bringing, especially because we were in the UK, bringing like American food. I mean, because we all missed it.
You're like, all right. Yeah. I mean, there's only so much, fish and chips or curry.
Only so much room service.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Was that sort of the thing? Because you do so much in the movie in terms of like the different landscapes and everything, but that was all filmed at Pinewood?
It was all filmed at Pinewood.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, before we shut down in March, I know they shot in Canada. They ended up having to build a lot of, we were scheduled to go to Malta.
Yeah.
But our stunt unit, our stunt unit, let me stop telling on y'all, ran amok a little bit in Malta, so we didn't end up going to Malta. So then we ended up having to build a lot of that stuff.
Oh, wow.
In Pinewood too, But all that stuff, my stunt driver, Naomi Schiff, who was extraordinary, all those driving sequences she knocked out in Malta. It's really crazy.
No, it's insane. I rewatched the movie today, and it had been a minute since I had rewatched it. And it was, again, like what I was saying earlier, I'm like, I kind of took for granted that this was filmed at that time because what's nice is that you're watching it, you're not thinking about it at all.
Yeah.
I mean,
we had to make that choice too, right? We were like, so do we, we're underground.
Yeah.
Do we do mask? It was like, all those choices had to be made in real time.
Yeah, and I feel like at least for that movie, the dinosaurs and the locusts
are horrific enough.
Yeah, exactly.
Surely.
What were some memorable days for you on set? I mean, because again, it's still blowing my mind right now just how we were all at home processing it, but you're halfway around the world. Mm-hmm. You're running around from dinosaurs, flying planes, like
So the first 3 weeks, it was essentially just me and Pratt. And I remember that super well. It's essentially like the beginning I remember extraordinarily well. I mean, I remember all of it well. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. I would watch the movie and be like, I remember that. I remember that moment. And then when we were filming the last sequence of the film at night, we shot that last.
Oh, wow.
So that was like, we did those overnights together during the election, like watching it, backstage or whatever, in the green room. And I remember it because no one slept. We were all like beautifully sleepless.
I love that.
And it was just so much fun. Like that enormous animatronic, that enormous dinosaur, and just watching Trevorrow. Nothing brought me more joy working on that film than watching Trevorrow direct dinosaurs.
How does he direct them?
With a degree of specificity you would not believe.
Just like the way the jaw moves.
The way the
claws?
jaw moves between. I mean, you take for granted how much the director of those films has to, one, co-construct the expressions of each of the animals, and it's like painstaking detail.
Yeah.
There's a reason why Kayla's dinosaur, Leonard, like you're like, oh, hey, Leonard.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like he feels a little high.
Yeah, he does just being like,
That was deliberate, you know?
Yeah, because you worked with so many dinosaurs.
Yes.
You got to Taser Dilophosaurus,
Yes.
the Pyroraptor,
Yes.
Leonard, which I
Yes.
can't. It's Listosuchus.
Well done.
Okay. This is my childhood dinosaur knowledge coming through. Was that fun to work with, or like?
It was fun, and it was really hard to be in character because you automatically turn into a 5-year-old again.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
they brought dinosaurs back to life.
And I guess that's my thought is that when you're actually seeing the physical thing, that must help a bunch. Just kind of immersing yourself.
Oh yeah. I mean, it was so funny, like going through the initial press run for all of it, because everyone, they kind of do that thing where they're like, what was it like working with green screen? And I'm like, I don't know. You know what I mean? Because it was it was the most that they've had in any film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, and I think that, I think even just for people going to Universal Studios and when you see the animatronic dinosaurs, that must even, there's a little bit more guardrails there, but it's still the idea that it's a huge robot.
It's cool. I think it's also why I really do believe it's why the fan base is like the most pure and wholesome fan base of all like fandoms.
Yes.
Like, I think that's why I'm just like, how you can't have this personality and be really into dinosaurs. Like, that doesn't make sense.
It's true.
Do you know what I mean?
I feel like we're kind of similar to wrestling fans in a way where like there's something so adorable and like, I don't know. To me, I think dinosaurs keeps me in touch with those kind of childlike curiosity and wonder and all that stuff. Yes. And I love a moment in the movie where because to me, what was great about the original Jurassic Park was that they said all the dinosaurs' names and like...
Oh, yeah, and I named them.
Yeah. And even the period where it's like, there is that edutainment quality that I think is charming about, and I love that Dominion had a lot of that.
Yeah, a ton of it.
Yeah.
I mean, to the point where I think when we were filming, it was like, all right, Kayla, gotta... Like, we added more just to make sure.
You were like brushing up on the...
Oh, yeah, big time.
Was there somebody on set who... like talked about like was that kind of because people talk about different processes of directors will make them watch movies or do sort of extracurricular sort of stuff.
We definitely had a consultant, an expert. He wasn't on set just because pandemic.
You're like, hey, how do you pronounce this name again?
Exactly.
Ugh.
On hand. Like our, scripty had to be on point.
They had to like know all the names. I love that. There's somebody just on their phone like Listo. Okay, good. We're good.
Well, it's also, which one was it? Probably the Quetzalcoatlus. We were like, it was one of those things where the pronunciation, we were like, well, I guess we get to decide.
Ooh, that's fun.
I mean, but that's wild, right?
Yeah,
it's like, that's just what it is. It's like, this is how we've decided that this will be. And so shall it be. I mean,
I just feel like I've learned after a while that, like, I talked to a paleontologist that named 2 dinosaurs after his kids. Mm-hmm. It's like, great.
Yeah.
What incredible power that must be.
That's so true.
Yeah. I'm trying to think what I would just name a dinosaur after my cat or something. So
what's your cat's name?
Penny Lane.
Yeah, you should do that.
Yeah. Penny Laneosaurus. What, again, when you're, like how you're describing this situation as being kind of insular in an exciting way, were there days where you're filming sort of action? Did that feel different too, in the sense of rather than just like this intimate scene or like this conversation? Was there different approaches to that?
I think it felt, it's just enormously charged. Like there's something. I'm like trying to think of all the sports I quit. Shot put, discus, never ran. Was not a runner.
I mean,
look,
like, you did. I mean, you were able to run from the dinosaurs.
Compensated later.
Yeah.
But all to say, there's something about it that feels very like your approach and just how your body works just feels very game day. Mm-hmm. Like everyone's focus is just like laser sharp. You know what I mean? Because obviously it's also a matter of, safety.
Yeah.
And the stakes of like, I think of that there's this one shot, we're on the ice lake and Pratt has to plunge through and, Kayla takes this like massive kind of like in-air leap or whatever. And we used not a trampoline, but one of those like springboards to do it. And you have certain shots like that where it's like, okay, he's going to get drenched. Like, ideally, we do this in one take
Yeah.
so that we don't have to waste the time
Sure.
to get him reset.
Just
right?
drying him off.
You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
Yeah.
So, and we did. Like, we did that in one take,
Wow.
you know? And then there are the little things that you don't anticipate. Like, there's one, if you go back and watch the movie, the way that my body, DeWanda, scale a like ladder, I climb like an animal. Like, I don't do this.
Yeah.
Apparently I do this. And I
Wow.
don't know if that's because I was like, you know, part of my Kayla thread is I was in JROTC in high school.
Yeah.
But there was something just about like the way that my body moves and the efficiency of that. And I just remember it was like a mini conversation with Colin because he was like, I want you to da-da-da-da. And I was like, that's not how my body works. Just got to do what my body does.
Yeah, but you're like,
Got to get up.
Yeah, and that's the specificity stuff that I feel like is memorable.
Yeah.
And yeah, I wanted to ask because I think the thought of flying a plane is so cool.
Very cool.
What was that like getting to do all that pilot stuff? Because you're just pulling switches.
Oh,
and...
yeah. Oh, yeah. That was the part that was like when between driving the truck and learning to drive that stick shift, like rickety truck, which I never actually did because, again, we didn't make it to Malta. So I just learned this skill that I'm never going to use. I might use it later. It's fine.
I love that.
But between, that one and then just getting on the plane and it's one of those things where, like, as an actor, you're like, I can't fake it. Like, you have to teach me how the thing works for real.
Yeah.
Like, there's, oh my God, Colin, there's one shot that he ended up putting in the movie or whatever, because he was like, I'm like in the helicopter, you know, and we're already midair. And he's like, you know, do this or whatever. And I'm like, it's not what happened. Like, I was like, and so I think I did the take like this.
Yeah.
'Cause she has an attitude. And it's probably in the movie. I think it's in the movie.
Now I have to go back and just keep an eye out for that
I think
stuff.
it's in the movie.
But that's the stuff again that is like you're saying. It's those things that make it feel real versus like, you know.
Yeah.
Because also, I mean, you know, how many helicopter pilots are, you know, because that's not even like a real helicopter. It's like a sci-fi helicopter or whatever.
So wild. But yeah, that plane, you know, I think they found it at a junkyard somewhere in Europe. And I spent a lot of time in it before we ended up shooting because you want to feel like not only does she have command and she's an expert in her field, but also she lives there.
Yeah.
It's her home.
There's just like blankets in the back.
Yeah,
like,
you know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's like,
yeah.
You see those beads and automatically you're like, those are grandma's beads.
Well, and just that shot, that beautiful shot where it just shows the steering wheel and it's like the character's parents.
That's
like
my mom and dad.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I love when that happens.
Yeah.
You're like, we could Photoshop something or whatever, but
that is John and Margie.
I love that. And was it like different planes or was it literally just one?
Just one.
And they just like rocking you back and forth?
Just one, yep.
That's so fun.
It was so fun. That was so fun. That sequence was so fun. That was also the sequence where I think I probably, you know, the first day it's like, okay, kid, you know, but by the time we're like shooting that sequence, there was so much that I like improvised in that cockpit.
Yeah.
And Pratt was like, oh, okay. Yeah.
I mean, again, this movie is such a unique Jurassic movie with all that cast. And was that sort of a thing? Because, it was different generations. Yeah. Did you kind of feel that going in that there was, I don't know. I mean, it was the last film, you know, of this era or whatever. Right. Was that something like, is that something that people talk about when making a movie? Like the sort of, I don't know, I guess the people's thoughts about it or the way that people are going to perceive it or I don't know. That sounds kind of vague, I guess.
No,
I don't know.
I don't think when we were making it. I mean, I think we all had a collective awareness. Like if you're an actor earlier in their career and you're working with legends, you know you're working with legends. You know what I mean? Yeah. I think what you don't anticipate is truly what I didn't anticipate was, you know, just how extraordinary and generous and funny and like you also, I wouldn't have had that experience. Like I would not know Laura Dern how I know Laura Dern if I did not live with her,
Yeah.
and spend time with her daughter.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah, I think we had an awareness in the moment of, like I was saying before, how special of an experience it was.
Yeah.
And just how wildly, bizarrely, tragically, but also profoundly and beautifully unique of a time we were having together. We
Yeah.
all had that awareness in the moment. And they are not, thankfully, because I'm sure these actors exist too, they're not caricatures of themselves. And so they're not walking around, with an air of anything.
Yeah.
Really, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like, Jeff knows when to put on Jeff.
Yes, of course.
You know what I mean? Like, Jeff Goldblum knows when to turn on Jeff Goldblum, but ultimately, he and I are both actually very nerdy actors who come, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That man comes to work with, like, pages, like notes and alts and, ideas and thoughts, and it was just really just an enormous gift to share that kind of space with those kind of artists.
And that's really cool because then like you said before, it's like you feel like more of yourself is in this thing than just a job.
Yes.
And you
Yeah.
get to, I don't know.
And you know how special it is.
Yeah. Ugh.
Like the stakes are a little bit different,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, totally. And that was actually just made me think of, and a question that I had was like one of my favorite lines from you in the movie, a more serious line, which was like, it isn't enough to do nothing.
Yeah.
And I feel like as somebody who loves all the Jurassic Park movies, to me, it's always been that these films are more than just about the dinosaurs. And what I really love about Dominion, and the thing that I'm always telling people, is that this movie really tried and got to say a lot of things, and it just kind of feels weirdly more relevant. Like a lot of different things in the last like month or so,
Yeah.
with like the not dire wolves
Yes.
and just all the tech,
Right.
shitty tech bros, all that
Yes.
stuff just feels, I don't know.
I know. It's like very like, cartoon villains. Here they are.
Yeah.
Here we are. Yeah.
Yeah.
Big
I don't
time.
know. That
Big
line
time.
was just really special and very cool.
Yeah, I think that was one where it was kind of, it was just my anchor. It was my anchor. That line in that moment, I kept having this conversation with Colin because he was like, why does Kayla help this white lady?
I love it.
He was like, DeWanda, I really just have to figure out why Kayla helped this white lady, right? And I was like, Colin, to be really honest with you, I feel like there are those who will interfere, inject themselves in a fight on the street.
Mhm.
And then there are those who don't.
Yeah.
The number of domestic disputes that I have injected myself in the streets of New York City, I'm like, that's just, some people are made
Yeah.
to be very communal.
Yeah.
Or to at least like, and I think that was something that was so beautiful for me about her arc, because really, I could show you my 50 pages of backstory.
Yes.
But that notion of returning to your own integrity,
Mhm.
and that idea of returning to like, my best self is a self who lives and exists in community.
Yeah.
And that was at the core of who Kayla is, and also, transparently, who I am.
Yeah.
Well,
and I think that was like a big part of the movie too, is just the notion that, you can't just, and goes all the way back to Michael Crichton, where it's like, you can't just bring dinosaurs back and expect just it to live in a vacuum. And I think that's what was so brilliant as the Jurassic World trilogy developed that I think it should be more appreciated is just that notion that like by bringing in a clone human, it kind of crystallizes that thing of like, yeah, we're all kind of in this together, but then also we have like, yeah, we actually do we can empower ourselves to actually do something. Like it's not just like you're not just nobody. Like you can make a difference. I don't know.
Yes.
Which is kind of nice.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, my other favorite line is, I get it. I like redheads too.
Yes.
And you are, Kayla Watts is the first canonically queer Jurassic Park character. And I don't know, I just, as a bisexual person, I just really appreciate that. And it was just so nice to see on screen.
I mean, here's the thing though. Dominion's so gay.
Yes.
Like Justice is there.
Yes.
I mean, I feel like Daniela's character was supposed to be.
Yes, it was
right.
cut.
That was the whole thing. It was cut. And I mean, what we were exploring something that I am and I believe, right? Which is there's always this conversation, always this conversation in blockbusters about like queer representation.
Yeah.
And people are always looking for the kiss.
Yeah.
Right. But queerness is queerness.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yes. Well,
it's like it's not just predicated on a romantic interest.
Of course.
And by all means, please continue to give us romantic.
Yeah.
To give us love interest. But I mean, really having a character in a blockbuster who is queer through and through. You know what I mean? Like bone and marrow.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like her people will find her. Like
well, and that's why like you said, that's why representation matters.
Yes.
And even just the notion that, like you said, even if you're not getting, I don't know, like an exaggerated version or like what people typically think.
Right.
I like recently had Margaret Cho on and we talked about movies that made us queer. And a big part of Jurassic Park for me was not only like Laura Dern's power and her sort of like that was a big influence on me, but then obviously Jeff Goldblum, open shirt as well,
Yeah.
And so it was just like those different dynamics are not just, it's not a literal thing. Mm-hmm. Although again, let's always have literal,
Let's always have literal. I don't want to, script one for the other, but I just think it's, every character I play is queer because I'm queer. So it's going to be there whether or not, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whether or not you necessarily like see it in action or, whatever that construction is.
Yeah.
In our minds. And, it was, super important to me.
Was that?
Very proud of it.
No, that's what I was going to ask. Was that just born of those conversations with Colin? And
I think she was on the page initially.
Cool.
I mean, she always was. I think he saw, She's Gotta Have It, and Nola Darling is polyamorous pansexual in her own words. And so, I think he just, she was kind of a jumping, very fierce, very ferocious, living her Brooklyn life, that character, Nola. So I think he just saw the thread.
Sure.
Yeah. I think he just picked up the baton.
Like, look, I mean, that's what, I don't know. It's like if you're making more movies in a franchise, you get to have more fun. Then also to me, just, I don't know. I mean, again, like for me, part of even starting this podcast was that like there is a certain Jurassic Park community that is maybe more into like military or the weapons or, again, all my like feather, like, the bones this way or whatever, pronated wrists, all that stuff. But then there's just people like me where I'm like, I just want to like look at the dinosaurs and feel something.
Yes,
I don't know.
Yes.
I was going to say cry. I'm going to just say cry. I don't need to hide that. But it's just, I don't know. It just, to see that stuff is just awesome. And I think even like a character like Henry Wu, where I think B.D. Wong just infuses so much of himself in it that it was like over the course of him coming back, really getting to come from the first movie where you kind of pick up on a little bit of the way that he's playing the character, then just really getting to like live it to the fullest and how great it was that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. We talked a lot about his arc too. Yeah. So good.
The other thing I really loved was that in the like the pre-interviews or just the interviews around when the movie was coming out, when you said there's no Kelly erasure.
Yeah.
And I love Kelly, and
Love
Vanessa
Kelly.
is a friend, and I love her so much.
Me too.
What was like, what like, I guess, I don't know, just getting to navigate making the movie and then having to go out and then explain it, but without having people seen that. What was that experience like? Especially again, like, because it was pushed back a year, like all that. Was that something that like, do you guys just get a text or do you just see it when it's announced? Like, how did that whole...
No, we knew when we were filming. I knew
really?
when we were filming.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I mean, when we were filming, Colin's like showing me the Lego markups, So cool.
Yes.
So yeah, no, we had a good idea. They give you like well in advance because they also, want you available.
Yeah.
To do press. Yeah. The only reason Chris Pratt wasn't a part of that press tour to the extent to which he would have been is because when we were filming, oh my goodness, I'm telling you guys, when we were filming, his child was born in August and he flew out and flew back. So like he missed the first months. You know what I mean?
I mean, that's
That is
being a good father.
Sacrifice. Yeah.
Of like, because he had to fly back to film.
He had to fly back to film.
Ugh.
Bryce was also away from her family. Colin was away from his family. Those three were away from their families. All the rest of us were like,
we could squeeze them in. Yeah.
So yeah, when we were, on tour, it was the birth of his third child.
Wow.
And I was like, yeah, man.
Yeah.
No more. Hollywood will be here.
Yeah.
Hollywood will be here. But yeah, we, man, it's so funny. I'm so funny with press because none of it to me ever feels like someone's trying to like do something. I feel like if I have a sense that, a journalist is like seeking or like a clickbaity thing,
Sure.
I kind of automatically know.
Yeah.
And I feel like me and Jeff have the same like Jedi skill set.
Yeah.
Where we're like, no.
Well, especially if you're doing that stuff all day and then you just kind of like,
Mm-hmm.
it's like, might as well have fun with it.
Might as well.
And I mean, just hearing so much from actors who are like, it's like you have a list of things you can't spoil. And
I know. It's so true.
Yeah.
But it was fun. Press was fun too. Yeah.
Well, speaking of, I was there. I was actually emceeing that Universal Toy Evening where I saw you get your action figure. I was just being the like, your car is parked in, a double loading zone or whatever. Like, I did all the announcements for that. And then
awesome.
My friend Chris was one of the hosts for that.
I almost lost that action figure immediately. My husband was so angry at me. He went down and found that little Kayla Watts action figure at like 6:00 in the morning. It was like still downstairs with the apartment building we used to live at in Pasadena. It's so crazy. She's fine though. Kayla's fine.
Well, because to me, growing up, having an action figure means you made it.
I made it. Like there was nothing my family was excited about. Nothing else in my career excited them more than knowing I had my brother knowing I had a Lego, my nephew knowing I had an action figure, and my niece knowing I had a little pop doll.
Oh my
gosh. That's it. I don't need to do anything else.
That's the, not EGOT or like,
yeah.
thing.
Correct.
Yes, the Funko Pop action figure minifig.
I did it.
That's so cool. That's really cool. Oh my gosh, this has been so much fun.
Yeah, you're great.
I guess now, I mean, it'll be 3 years since. What has been just something that you're grateful for that experience, or just something that you've taken away? Maybe some, some skills that you've learned from it. Anything?
Always grateful for the humans. Like normally, every job I say, like as an actor, you usually get one. Like you usually get one person to keep.
Yeah.
And I just got to keep everybody. That doesn't happen. So I'm really, really thankful for that.
I love that.
Yeah.
Well, I like to ask most people. Sometimes I forget.
Okay.
But it's the classic question, which is if Jurassic Park or Jurassic World like opened tomorrow, would you go?
Oh yeah. Of course.
You're like
the hubris.
You're like, just sign me up.
You'd be like, you know what? I would figure it out.
Yeah. I think, look, you jump up the ladder, you're good to go. You'd escape from all the dinosaurs. Maybe not the flying ones, but
what I loved in Fallen Kingdom though? I'm like, I would go if I could have one of those little like circle dome things.
oh yeah,
Or like whatever little like I'm in a cage
yes, yeah.
protection mechanisms.
Yeah.
So maybe that.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I think it'd be fun to do the ruins because then the dinosaurs are out and free
Smart.
instead of just, in a cage or whatever.
Yes.
So,
Would you go?
yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where, especially with like the news of like cloning
Might
the
as
thing,
well.
it's just like at this point, just bring the dinosaurs back. We've already can't be worse, right?
It can't be worse. Maybe
Yeah.
we should. Maybe we should expedite starting from scratch. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Just bring the dinosaurs back.
I think we should. Thank you so much, DeWanda. This has been the best.
Yeah.
Well, is there anything, this will come out in like a couple weeks. Is there anything people should check out or any other projects you're working on or films that you've done or things that people other than Dominion?
Oh, I have a film coming out, a Western coming out because it's Western time in late September.
Oh, awesome.
But I'm also just really excited to see the next Jurassic. Like,
Yeah.
I'm really excited to see Mahershala and ScarJo. She don't know me. I'm gonna call her ScarJo anyway.
I mean, I feel like that's really stuck. Just ScarJo.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't even know where it came from, but I found myself saying it too.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay.
It feels right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Wow. Thank you so much for listening, everybody. Thank you so much to Wanda for giving me your time, coming down to the studio and recording with me. You were so generous. And yeah, I just appreciated having that conversation with you. It was so much fun. And what else? Thank you so much, Maximum Fun, for letting me use the space and to record that interview with DeWanda. You know Maximum Fun, so check them out. And then, oh my gosh, also, DeWanda sent over a charity this week for me to shout out. And if this is your first time listening, every episode, usually guest-based ones, I'll have them bring a charity or cause that they care about. And then I make a donation and obviously would like to urge you to donate as well if you can, or at least share. And so DeWanda brought the NAMI, the National Alliance on Mental Illness. And if you don't know them, they are the nation's largest grassroots mental health organization dedicated to building better lives for the millions of Americans affected by mental illness. And yeah, I'll link to them in the show notes. Also, Amanda Goodness from Drinking the Kool-Aid, who was on the episode that kicked off this whole thing happening. Amanda and I went to go see DeWanda in Furlough's Paradise, which was a wonderful, moving, electric play at the Geffen Playhouse by UCLA. That was so much fun. We had a great time at the theater, and yeah, it was just the best. So yeah, thanks everyone for listening. Stephen Ray Morris on all the things. Etsy.com/shop/See Jurassic Right for all the wonderful Jurassic June merch from Andrea Ciafalo, aka Strange Bird Art. And hold on to your butts. We'll see you soon.